Tonight's episode is brought to you by... Who the fuck are you guys?
We are representatives of a global internet search engine and online video platform.
What do you want?
We've come to inform you that we are aware of what you're going to say and we aren't going to let anyone hear it.
That sounds like some kind of rights infringement.
No, because you can say whatever you want. We just reserve the right to mute whatever you say if we deem the material to be too sensitive.
So how the fuck do you decide if something is too sensitive?
That is for us to know, and that is it.
That sounds a lot like censorship.
This is not the case. You are allowed to say what you want, but we don't have to let anyone hear you if we don't want to.
That is definitely censorship and possibly criminal.
You can't say that.
Say what?
That word.
What word?
The C word.
Which one?
Any word that starts with a C. It's in our policy.
Which policy? The one I initially agreed to or the one I was forced to comply with after the fact? Censorship.
There's that word again. Gentlemen, explain to this subordinate how things work.
What do you expect to accomplish here?
We are responsible for making a safe place for art.
Didn't Bill Cosby make safe art?
Did we tell you about using C words?
You guys are acting like C words.
Do you have anything else you want to say?
I've got time.
Now this quarantine, it's going pretty damn good.
I agree.
We got all this, all these fucking movies.
Watch good movies. Drinking.
Osman's got a full bar downstairs. I don't even think he knows it's still down there.
And even less customers than used to.
Oh yeah, those fuckers aren't coming in at all.
You know, I didn't really think I would enjoy a pandemic as much as I have.
No shit.
Just, who would have thought less people?
I always know how to appreciate less people, but... Life is tasty right now.
It really couldn't be better. So what do you want to watch next?
I don't know, man. I've already watched Elm Street like 4 times.
And
And it keeps getting better.
yeah.
Well, I guess we're not watching Elm Street. You know what we could watch?
What are you feeling like?
Cabin Fever.
In the year 2003, the world is still in shock over the events of 9/11. War is imminent, but all of that pales in comparison next to the sight of Ryder Strong's hairy f***ing nipples.
Where's Topanga when you need her?
On second thought, the last thing we need is Topanga getting a flesh-eating virus. That would be equivalent to destroying a World Heritage Site.
I won't allow it.
Anyway, this movie's just an analogy for Hollywood.
Hear me out.
It's about a flesh-eating virus that eats you from the outside in. It destroys everything that you love and leaves you for dead. All the while polluting the waters for everyone else.
Hollywood for the win.
It's Me Too for the epidermis. And if you don't find yourself with your face down in the water gasping for air, you find yourself getting your face bashed in with a shovel. But that's just Hollywood, baby. That's just Hollywood.
So what drew you to Cabin Fever?
It's hard to say. I was actually fortunate enough to see Cabin Fever in the theater.
can tell you, I remember seeing the fucking trailer for it, and I remember watching it and thinking, oh, fucking horror movies are coming back.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you remember that time frame, and you've heard me bring it up before. And it's that, you know how tame horror got in the late 90s,
Yeah.
early 2000s, that fucking, you know, that's the post-Scream thing.
Yeah. It's,
And those movies aren't necessarily bad, they're just not necessarily horror.
no, they're not bad, but they lacked everything that made Cabin Fever so great.
Exactly.
They wasn't nearly as gory.
Right.
And well, the setting of Cabin Fever was just, you know, a lot
Oh,
different than the things that were coming out in the late 90s and early 2000s. Eli Roth really went back to what made horror great.
Yep.
The roots.
Shot it anamorphic. The only way a movie should ever be shot. Shot it with that warm fall look. So it's shot like John Carpenter's Halloween, but it takes place in an Evil Dead setting.
Yeah.
But then there's also, it looks like Camp Crystal Lake. So you've got, you know, Evil Dead, Friday the 13th. Obviously there's allusions to other famous movie scenes in general. Nice little fucking references and visuals and shit. Yeah, he was returning us to fucking horror. It's got that Night of the Living Dead feel to it. It's got the Night of the Living Dead ending. You know, it's like just blatant fucking shit like that. And fucking, it's a good time. And it's fucking underrated.
Yeah.
And that's frustrating.
It might be my number 2 favorite horror movie.
Oh damn.
Just in terms of quality, but also just what it meant to me when I seen it.
Yeah, I haven't watched it in possibly 10 years, but I've always like revered it.
Yeah.
Because it's part of, there's a lot of like early 2000s horror where it was a slow fucking transition period out of the post-Scream. So like a lot of the stuff that was still coming out was way past the point doing the Scream ripoff stuff with the fucking self-aware tone and the fucking let's treat it like a comedy. Yeah, you don't get that fucking ball rolling back until like Jeepers Creepers happens. Then the Texas Chainsaw remake. There's a couple movies in the early 2000s where you're like, okay, these guys are trying to get us back to horror. Cabin Fever like fits in there, and I'm so burned out on self-referencing in movies in general that it drives me fucking crazy. I'm sick of watching a movie and then 20% of the dialogue is referencing other movies and shit. It's like, God damn it. I'm tired of movie characters living in the same world that I do where the movies exist.
Yeah.
I've gotten tired of it.
Yeah.
Even though that's one of the strengths of a movie like Clerks, when it was the first and only movie to fucking do that. But now it's fucking done to death.
Whenever you have a movie that's self-aware, but then the characters are still doing those dumb things.
Exactly. Because they've seen the movies, yet they're still falling for all the same bullshit.
Yeah.
I want to talk about Eli Roth in that whole scenario. Because Cabin Fever was the first movie he directed. And his name was attached to Cabin Fever. It's like you'd never heard of him, but you knew it as Eli Roth's Cabin Fever. He tips the fucking cart over to getting Saw to be the next thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, of course, once he does Hostel, which is like his response to Saw in a sense, he's the precursor to a movement. There's a very specific moment in time there that has been given a lot of fucking disrespect. And I think that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Because, sure, there are a bunch of fucking rip-off bad movies, but Saw is a great movie. Hostel is a great fucking movie. Cabin Fever is a great movie. And High Tension's a pretty damn good movie. You know that whole fucking... I'm not going to say the wrong words if you catch my meaning, but the words that people use to disparage a certain genre of horror.
Torture porn.
I hate you.
I knew that you would.
All right. I'm going to take this whole torture porn theory and I'm going to fucking stick it up your ass. Maybe not yours specifically.
No, not mine specifically.
But I'm going to stick it up somebody's ass.
The critic's ass.
You know that all movies are exploitation movies, right?
I've never really thought about it, but I mean, yes.
Okay, well, all movies exploit a certain subject or a topic or a theme to sell tickets. All movies are exploitation movies. You're exploiting the customers for their dollars by selling them a fucking product that they want, right? Mm-hmm. All business is exploitation in some form or another. And I'm fucking sick of horror movies in general getting slapped with fucking derogatory terms such as exploitation films and torture porn because it's bullshit, because these are terms invented by fucking critics who don't like the fucking genre in the first place. Because these pricks are taking something they don't like and trying to find a way to disparage it as much as possible by slapping these labels on them to make themselves feel fucking better about the fact that their taste in movies fucking sucks. Because all those fucking movies that critics fucking jerk off in the first place never become classics. That small little fucking drama movie that wins Best Picture every year,
Yeah.
you don't remember it.
No.
Nobody remembers it. It's not available on Blu-ray anymore. You know what I mean? And you get in the early 2000s, you get fucking Eli Roth, one of the first dudes to come kicking the fucking door down saying, hey, remember splatter movies? Remember when horror movies used to be fun and crazy and a little disturbing? And then gives you cabin fever and says, hey, here's all the shit you love all rolled up into one fucking movie.
Yeah.
And he's pretty fucking successful at it. And with even characters that should be fucking hateable, but I don't find them hateable. James DeBello is supposed to be the most loathsome piece of shit, but you still like him.
Well, he was the one speaking the truth.
That's the problem. They're supposed to be hateable, but they're not hateable because they're realistic.
Yeah.
In that fucking scenario, they react the same fucking way you would.
Oh, yeah.
And the way that I would. And the way everyone else would, and they don't want to admit that they would. Because guess what? That motherfucker comes beating on the cabin door saying, let me in. Fuck that. Quarantine town. You're not getting in here to infect the rest of us.
No.
And that's a tragic fucking reality. On the torture porn fucking thing, you start slapping this fucking label on a new wave of splatter movies. Gore movies are starting to make a fucking comeback in the 2000s. Post 9/11, mind you. I think there's something to be said about that. As a matter of fact, the character of Marcy, her audition was on September 11th. That character's auditions were scheduled for September 11th, 2001, and it was the monologue about the plane going down. So, a shit ton of actresses dropped out and did not audition. And she was the last one added to the cast. Because, you know, kind of last minute. They couldn't find anybody because everybody dropped out because they're like, auditions for this character with this monologue on this day. I'm not going into work. So, they didn't fucking bother.
Yeah.
And what a fucking shame, because then they would have been part of a horror movie underrated classic.
Yeah.
You know, it's not classic. It's not high art. It's not the smartest fucking movie. It doesn't have the most fucking... It's not fucking social commentary necessarily. There's little hints of it in there, you know.
Yeah.
And that's what horror and shit does the best. And on that fucking stupid torture porn fucking term. Do you know what the movie Hostel is about? The theme? It's not about cutting up fucking bodies. It's not about cutting off fucking fingers. It's about xenophobia. It's about these asshole Americans who go to other fucking countries and act all fucking cocky and look at us, we're fucking Americans, we're loud, we're annoying, and then they realize that they're out of their fucking element and they're insignificant and they're not the most important thing in the fucking world. And that movie is a direct response to the world we were living in post 9/11. This is not exploitation. This is social commentary. That kind of stuff. If you're going to talk about the beginning of Eli Roth's career, he came in at the right fucking time. You can take all your stupid fucking disparaging fucking titles and comments to belittle it. Just because you come up with a fucking clever term to make fun of it doesn't mean that the thing is any less good or important. It just means that you're a douchebag and you have no fucking respect.
It's okay. We've been quarantined for 15 minutes now. You're lashing out. It's okay.
I don't want to go home though.
No. Home is where the demons come out.
Are you sure?
Oh, yeah. You know, I think I realized this is my second favorite horror movie.
No shit. What's your free?
It's Dawn of the Dead.
Okay.
And then I truly believe it's Cabin Fever. Not
Oh,
because
shit.
not because I think it's that iconic. Just
I mean, personally,
what it means to me. And you get an actor by the name of Ryder Strong, who you grow up with watching in Boy Meets World, and then you see him in this movie.
Yeah, it's almost distracting.
It's maybe at first it was, but
Yeah.
I've seen this movie dozens of times, and just seeing him in there,
Yeah.
just I don't know, it made it resonate with me a lot more.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the cast was actually really great.
Yeah, for the most part. I got one complaint.
Uh-oh.
It's not that big of a deal, no. I fucking love, what's his name? Joey Kern.
Oh, no.
Are you familiar with his body of work?
Yeah.
Because here's the fucked up thing. He does Super Troopers. He does Cabin Fever. He does Grind. And then he does jack shit after that.
Yeah.
And I loved all three of those movies. Those are his
Yeah.
first 3 damn movies. And as a matter of fact, I like that dude enough that I watched a fucking movie called Sasquatch Gang or some shit
Yeah.
on Amazon one night just because he was in it.
Well, they had Justin Long in it, too.
Oh, that's right.
There's a few reasons to watch that.
Oh yeah,
one.
so you got the Jeepers Creepers Cabin Fever coming
Yeah.
together.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
And I watched that, too, by the way.
I just, I just saw it. I'm like, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's under. He was a good guy. I like
Yeah.
him. He just really hasn't. He doesn't act much though.
Yeah, but and he was the biggest scumbag in the movie.
But he was the
Of the-
smartest
yeah, he
scumbag
was-
in the movie.
Yeah, yeah, and that's
Well-
why he would had survived.
Yeah, no shit. It's a real fucking bummer. If he hadn't had a goddamn celebration dance about it, he might have been a
Yeah.
little quicker on his feet. But then again, he's been buzzed. He's been drinking for days.
Yeah.
A couple of days anyway. But he was smart. He fucking jumped ship, drank all of his fucking beer, and survived the fucking plague.
Hung out by himself.
Yep.
Which is why we're gonna live.
Oh yeah.
Cheers.
We're the Joey Kerns of Schlockbuster video.
Now, if the Fed boys come in and smoke us, well, that's nothing we can do about that.
Can't have any Fed smoking going on. What about Jordan Ladd as Karen?
Jordan Ladd, I really enjoy.
Yeah.
I don't know everything she's been in.
I do.
I'm sure you do.
Oh, she was in Club Dread.
Oh yeah, well that's the only other thing I know her
She was in Waiting.
Waiting.
Yeah, she played Louis Guzman's girlfriend.
Oh, that's right.
He always
yeah.
kept trying to get her to grab his dick
Yeah,
the whole movie.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I really like Jordan Ladd.
that's all I really know her
Yeah.
from. No, I was just kidding.
Club Dread, which is another movie
There's-
of the era.
But there's a tie-in too. The composer
the
Nate
composer.
Kabar
Okay.
did the music for Club Dread and Cabin Fever also. But he did a lot of Broken Lizard movies, and he's done half of Eli Roth's movies. Scored all 7 seasons of fucking True Blood. But he also did Club Dread, 2001 Maniacs, Hostel Beer Fest, Hostel 2, The Slammin' Salmon, The House with a Clock in Its Walls, and The Hunt.
The music in Cabin Fever was actually quite great.
Angelo Badalamenti did some of the themes.
Yeah.
He did the theme where she was getting Ryder stronged.
Yeah. Right or strong.
Yeah.
Pretty.
He did a couple. I can't remember which other themes he did. I know that was one. Those were
Yeah.
that was surprisingly really pretty piece of music.
Yeah.
And then the fucking creepy music toward the end when those hillbillies were coming for him and
Yeah.
stuff. Some really good stuff in there actually. I was surprised at how good the score was. Rewatching
The
it.
music
Yeah.
was really. The musical cues are really good.
Yeah.
I don't know if he wrote the opening scene, but it showed the hermit bringing the rabbit.
Yeah.
That music was just. It was so low, and it really set
Okay,
the
yeah,
tone.
Um,
And do you know what? Did I compare this music to? What movie I compare it to?
I'm scared to ask.
Necromantic.
Oh no shit.
Well, just
Oh,
because
man.
you take a movie that's gruesome,
Yeah.
and then you add this beautiful music,
Right. Gotcha.
and so that's why I associated the. Yeah, it was. Whenever you put music in a dark scene like that, Ryder Strong scene, even the lighting in that scene I found to be really
like the cinematography was really fucking good.
the cinematography, the lighting
fucking-
was good, especially in that scene because the tones.
Scott Kevin, cinematographer. Just so we know.
Okay. I don't know how to describe that lighting. It was so cool,
Oh yeah.
but not cool as in cool as in
Yeah, I know what you're
the
talking about.
tones.
Yeah. This cannot be fucking understated. There's this little fucking movie that the idiot fucking planet has forgotten about called Detroit Rock City. I think you understand. Because
yes.
half the fucking cast of that movie is in Cabin Fever. And that is not an accident, I found out.
Absolutely not.
And I fucking love it. So you've got Giuseppe Andrews as fucking Deputy Winston. Fucking steals the goddamn show when he shows up, dude. That first fucking scene. He's fucking unsettling and fucking captivating.
And this goes back to whenever I said the musical cues are great because
Oh,
he's
yeah.
there as a deputy,
Oh yeah.
and
They're playing fucking jazz music.
well he's asking deputy like questions.
Yeah.
But then he sees the girl or
When he
whatever.
realizes the party's going on.
Whatever he realizes there's a party. The music cues,
Yeah.
and then his fucking tone changes as well.
Yeah,
It's like,
immediately.
Oh, Daddy, man. Why are you talking about leaving for? You gotta stay and party.
Also from the Detroit Rock City cast. The semi-great James DeBello.
He's all the way
No,
great.
no, he's great. He's great in fucking Detroit Rock City. He's kind of a similar character in this. He's the stoner, wacky, extra guy that could be an asshole, but he's kind of the fool. If you're gonna break it down to an archetype, right? Because the archetypes need to be brought up. Which is James DeBello plays the fool, and James had some of the fucking best lines in the movie, fucking bar none.
Yeah.
Did you see him grabbing his crotch in that one scene?
Yeah.
In the background? It's like, that's fucking funny shit, man. Because you know he's just doing that shit for fun. Just for the fuck with the camera. Jordan Ladd plays the innocent girl next door type. Who's usually the final girl in a horror movie like this, right? Then you've got Ryder Strong, who is the nerd, kind of, the weaker guy. You've got Joey Kern playing what would be the jock character in any other movie to a degree, except in this case he's a law student, but he still has a little bit of that tendency, and he is the one dating the girl who is notoriously known as the slut in the context of these types of archetypes. Then you have Serena Vincent as Marcy, whom I only recognize from not another teen movie, and I can't remember why. She was alright. The character could have been dumb. She's actually kind of the most like, you know, fuck this, I gotta fix this scenario. She's like, she would have been the final girl.
There wasn't
if you were following the format.
Really, there wasn't a stupid character necessarily.
No, they weren't stupid. They just saw the writing on the wall and said, fuck this.
I got a better story than that.
I'm sorry, Bert, but no story is better than Karen and her parents' shower massage.
I don't know, I think it's something to be said about the characters in the movie, which is that they react like real people, though.
Yeah, because they cared about one another, except for Joey Kern. He cared about himself.
Yeah.
Which is fine for the character.
If I was in the woods with 4 of my friends, one of them was infected, maybe another one was already infected, and everyone was trying to fucking sit around and huddle around the infected people, I'm like, fuck this, I'm going in the woods. Come with me or don't. Do you know what I mean? But don't fucking breathe on me. Do you know what I mean? I can't say I wouldn't do it. I feel like he was the most rational.
Oh, for sure. Which is why he went uninfected. Not unkilled.
No.
Uninfected.
Yeah. Only thing he got infected was with a fucking...
with a fucking bullet.
Yeah.
I've never seen a case of infected with bullets so bad.
You know, these archetypes are fucking pretty heavy. Do you know what I mean? This was not an accident.
Yeah.
You can find these exact same archetypes, probably better portrayed and subverted in a movie called Cabin in the Woods. That's another story. Eli Roth, who plays the creepy bald guy with a fake bald cap on. That was awful, bald cap. But it was a funny bit.
It worked for the scene.
But the character Grimm should have been hateable, but I liked him.
It's a positive bonfire. Got room for one more?
So he's supposed to be a douchebag.
He's supposed to be a douchebag, and he was.
He is, but he's also, he had an innocence about him.
Because he wasn't overly pushy.
Awesome.
He's just a weird guy, though.
But what did they say? They're like, actually, it's a private conversation.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. I get to go smoke all this weed by myself.
Yeah. And Joey Kern's like, well, it's not really that private. But he was a scumbag. Joey Kern was the big. That's a fact.
Yeah,
he was the biggest scumbag.
Yeah.
The damn dog in the movie was even great. You know, they actually had a different dog.
Which part? Oh, what do you mean, like?
Well, at first they had filmed the movie with the dog from the Patrick Swayze movie Black Dog.
Really?
Yeah, and it was like some black dog. It was like a pit bull or
so
something.
they had to reshoot the dog stuff altogether.
Yeah, because the original dog they got just was not vicious enough.
Really, that fucking dog in the movie was fucking disgusting, horrifying.
Yeah, the dog they originally had was just too nice. It was walking around with its tail wagging. It was wouldn't growl. So they did get a new dog that they couldn't even have the actors on set with because it was so vicious.
They never shot him in the same shot. I noticed that.
Yeah.
The dog was always in a separate fucking frame.
Yeah.
How about that dipshit hobo character?
That motherfucker just wanted some water.
No shit.
You know, that was kind of the moment I was like, all right, this movie's a fucking comedy.
Oh yeah, it does have comedy in it for sure.
Yeah, but he comes, I think it was Jordan Ladd that was talking about it. She was like, he wanted our help.
We lit him on fire.
It's like it couldn't be. This is like
it's like comedy timing.
Yeah, he wants help. We lit him on fire. And it was beautiful.
Oh, yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
And the hermit,
remember when James Abello shot at him and he didn't know it?
Yeah.
He's like, why'd you shoot at me? Just like, what the fuck, man?
fucking Eli Roth wrote this movie. It's really, I can't believe how underrated it is.
Yeah. It makes no sense.
It's almost perfect for what it is.
And what's fucked up, when we were there when it came out, right? Growing up.
Yeah.
Everyone saw it. Everyone fucking loved it. And then it slowly just disappeared from the mainstream horror discussion. And I fucking like Eli Roth. I haven't watched all of his stuff. I like him as a person. I love him as a champion of horror. He did a great fucking series on AMC called Eli Roth's History of Horror. You know, stuff like that. He champions the genre, and that's always welcome. I like him as a dude. I haven't watched any of his movies past Hostel 2, I don't think. So that means I've only seen his first 3 films. But those first 3 films are super important to the genre, as far as I'm concerned. Cabin Fever, Hostel 1 and 2. He did direct part 2, right?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, fucking Eli Roth wrote the script for this movie in 1995. And do you know why he couldn't sell it? Because Scream hit in 96. And they're like, nope, horror's out. We gotta fucking turn it into a satire.
Now, how do you think, if Cabin Fever had been made in 95, how would that have changed the landscape?
Oh, God, there's no telling.
Would Scream have still been the better movie? Because,
Is it the better movie?
Well, because fans like us,
Yeah.
obviously, we would have gravitated towards Cabin Fever.
Yeah.
But, you know, Scream made the self-aware. It made a movement of its own, yeah.
Yeah. And that's not to put down Scream. Scream's not the problem.
No.
Scream is a pretty great movie. I was happy when it blew up for the sake that, oh, slashers are coming back. I was cool with that. But I have a lot of frustration with that movie because of that movement that it spawned. Not because that movie was bad, but because all the imitators came. And the next 5 or 6 years was nothing but self-referential bullshit, you know, and it's just like lackluster movies saying, get it, wink, wink, we're a movie. Get it? Wink, wink. And I'm like, oh, fuck, man. Can we get scared for once, you know? Can we be scary? It was the era that was known for the pretty people on the poster. Do you know what I mean? Because they take these TV stars and shit, all these people that were like 18, 20 years old, fresh-faced young actors and shit, stick all 5 of them. There's always 5 people on the poster.
Well, let's just take a moment here and reflect. Skeet Ulrich. What a babe. It's really a movie unlike anything at the time.
I know, that's why I can't...
I mean, not that it hasn't been done before.
Yeah, that's the thing is, like, it's not... It's like a greatest hits package. It takes all the best things about horror, puts them in one place, and it's like it was the reset button on horror.
Yeah, it
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It took everything great about all the classic horror movies and said, let's do this.
Yeah.
Let's fucking get back to the point. And it's taken a long time to really get there, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we've completely moved away from the self-aware shit, finally.
Yeah.
But it took a long time, and goddamn fucking... Go fuck yourself with your found footage bullshit. That's just a cop-out to, like, lower their production value. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's the only reason they fucking produced those things for 10 fucking years post Paranormal Activity and shit. They did those things for fucking ever, and I hated most of them. Sure, there's a few that are good. You know, genres without merit, right? So there are a few of those that are fucking great movies, don't get me wrong. Just most of those fucking movies, the studios were like, oh, well, here's $500,000, go make your little movie, and we'll make 20, 30 million in return, right? I mean, I get it from a financial standpoint, but it just made for a shit ton of fucking movies that no one remembers. They shot this movie in North Carolina. They shot for 24 days. I don't know if it's a stretch, but it's the same region of the United States that Evil Dead was shot.
Yeah.
It's 3 hours, 20 minutes away from the Evil Dead location where they actually filmed the original Evil Dead. So I've wondered if that was on purpose. Do you know what I mean? Where he's like, I want to get as close to that area to kind of shoot with that same kind of look, you know? And the cabin itself, they actually fucking built. It wasn't even real. They spent like $40,000 on it. And I think they left it out there. I think that some of the people involved in the production like just keep it like still there or some shit. I'm not sure. Or they used it for a while anyway. I feel like I even thought the thing back when it first came out, I was like, oh, it's kind of like the Evil Dead cabin. It reminded me of Evil Dead. And I saw an interview where Eli Roth said people asked him if it was the same cabin from the Evil Dead, and he's like, that's the highest compliment. And obviously it's not.
Yeah.
It looks nothing like the Evil Dead cabin, so I don't understand how it's a problem. It makes no sense to me. The door is all the way to the right. There's one tiny little window on the left. It's half the size of the Evil Dead cabin. Yeah. It's a nice cabin. I like its design, especially the interior. Yeah. It looks fantastic. That has an Evil Dead kind of vibe to it.
But if it was the same cabin, it's been burned to the ground.
Yeah, no shit. Cost them $1.5 million to make. Lionsgate purchased it after seeing it for $3.5 million. Ended up making $30 million. This was the highest grossing Lionsgate film in 2003. Because Lionsgate, who really built their house on horror in the first place, if you remember.
After this movie?
Yeah.
After Cabin Fever, anytime the Lionsgate logo popped up,
yep.
I was like, yep.
Me too. I knew it was going to be, yeah. They didn't always make masterpieces, obviously. They were the Blumhouse of their day, as in Blumhouse makes some of the best horror, but they also make some of the worst because they're willing to let you make any kind of horror you want. Lionsgate did not really interfere that much. They let people make all kinds of fucking horror movies. They were the New Line Cinema of the 2000s. Yeah. And then they fucking hit big with their Twilights and their Hunger Games, and then they kind of abandoned horror. You know, they kind of, I mean, I think they still make some, but
it went downhill.
They're not they're not the powerhouse of horror that they were, but that's where Blumhouse came in to start making good horror, because they've made some of the best horror in the last few years. They've also made some of the worst. Yeah. But it's, you know, at least they're shooting in all directions. Yeah. You know what I mean? They're not saying we're just going to bank on this one thing. We're like, no, you can make your piece of shit Truth or Dare movie, but we're going to make the new Halloween movie. Yeah. You know, things like that. So
Lionsgate made Saw.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know that Cabin Fever inspired Saw. Yeah. The guys who made Saw saw Cabin Fever and said, we need to do what he's doing. And then Eli Roth watched Saw after meeting him. Like, I mean, he met the guys before they even made it, right? They told him that they were making Saw because he inspired them. So then he's watched Saw and he's like, I can do something like that too. Then he does Hostel. So they like influence each other back and forth across the board. And that's pretty fucking cool. So you get that whole class of Lee Wanell and James Wan and Eli Roth building this fucking empire together, and or at least building the moment.
And I really hope to see Eli Roth return back to some of the
grassroots horror, you know?
Just something of old, because he did certainly. I'm going to use the term. Okay, I won't use it. But with Hostel, he really did bring back a certain genre.
Right. But in general, when you think of that era, that's the gold standard.
Yeah.
So he perfected it.
Yeah.
Everyone was ripping off Hostel.
But even now, I want to see him go back to pre-Hostel. Now, I don't know. You can't ask him to go back and make another Cabin in the Woods movie, but I want him to go back to that low budget. See what he can do.
Oh no, he directed like a family film a few years ago.
Did?
Yeah, The House with a Clock in Its Walls, starring.
Oh, he did that?
Yeah, that was him.
With Jack Black?
Yeah, that was his one non-horror.
Whoa.
I wanted to get around to seeing it, but I didn't get to see it. I think he used the same composer and everything.
Well, he deserves to be a director.
I was happy he was like getting up the ranks. Like, hell, he's doing some A-list shit now.
But we know.
Then he went straight.
We know he knows his horror. Yeah. So that's where I want him to be.
Yeah, of course, yeah. I think he deserves more respect than he gets. I feel like he is kind of treated a little bit like a punchline because of the genre that he helped re-pioneer, you know?
Yeah.
It's nonsense. It's fucking nonsense.
I can't put into words how much I actually love that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Because I've seen it in 2003 in theater.
Oh, it was like fucking warm apple pie rewatching it.
Yeah.
Like
but not just any apple pie. No. Like apple pie good enough for Jason Biggs.
Mm-hmm. The best kind of apple pie.
Now that man loves an apple pie.
Who doesn't?
The thing that I meant to bring up earlier was was part of the musical cues, but there I think it was closer to the end of the movie. Ryder Strong was, you know, after he was infected and bloodied, he was having he was having some flashbacks with the beautiful music of him and Jordan Ladd, and it's all great. But then it cuts to her with her fucking face and her teeth showing. So you've got this beautiful music and these pretty scenes, and then Eli Roth hits you with this disturbing, disgusting image.
Yeah.
And that was just great.
And that fucking character's fucking story, his character arc or whatever, his story arc is fucking dark.
Yeah.
He's the shy best friend who doesn't have the fucking strength to tell the girl he loves that he loves her. And then he's working up to doing it. Then tragedy fucking befalls them all.
Mm-hmm.
And then by the end of the movie, he's smashing her face in with a shovel. Showing her mercy. You know what I mean? Like, God damn it.
And then, even in there, he's banging Joey Kern's girlfriend. It goes off the rails. I mean, there's no rules anymore.
Like she said, the plane was going down.
Yeah. It's like everything in that movie happened exactly as it should have.
Yeah, pretty much.
And Eli Roth doesn't get enough credit for writing in my opinion, perfect movie.
Yeah, and you know, but like the fact that he wrote it in '95. I mean, he had what 6-7 years to really fucking perfect that thing before he actually filmed it. In terms of perfecting, it's all a matter of taste, I guess.
Yeah.
You know what is perfect, but Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, probably. But speaking of bashing a girl's face in, actress, what's her name? Jordan Ladd.
Yeah.
She is the fucking niece, Alan Ladd Jr.
Oh,
do you know who that is?
Could you be any more obscure? Alan Ladd Jr.
No. Alan Ladd Jr. is the fucking notorious 20th Century Fox producer who is the only person willing to invest in George Lucas when he made Star Wars. Every fucking studio, every producer in Hollywood turned him down. Alan Ladd Jr. is the one who's like, I like you. I think American Graffiti is a good movie, and I'm willing to take a risk on you. So he's the one who fronted the money for the very first Star Wars film. And on top of that, he also produced Alien. Alan Ladd Jr. is a fucking god.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Like,
oh yeah.
And that's not even his entire body of work. Those are just two shining examples.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool family tie. I think
that's
cool.
a great family tie. Especially someone related to a low-budget horror.
Yeah, exactly. Cause she tended to do stuff like that because she was in Club Dread.
Yeah.
She's in like small stuff. She was never like trying to get into. Oh, she might have been. I don't know.
Well, she could have been.
I don't know. I don't know much about her body of work past the early 2000s, really.
Everybody's so gung ho to be the leading man, the top dog. I was like, fuck that. I'd rather be in a Cabin Fever.
No shit. I would fucking play James DeBello's character in a movie in a heartbeat, or Joey Kern to a degree.
Man, I would.
Because those characters are fun.
It's like me as an adult.
Yeah.
I would play that kid on the bench swing.
No shit.
Pancakes!
That's the shit that I fucking love about it. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
That was John Landis' favorite scene in the movie.
It's such a odd movie.
Yeah.
It came out at an odd time.
That's the timing, the fucking...
And I guess that's why I'm so drawn to it, because I was so used to one thing, then I seen this, and I was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
This is something I haven't seen in a long time.
That's the thing, man. Like, growing up, when we were growing up, man, horror was a dirty word for a while. There were things that they called thrillers that were there to replace horror, which was the clean, sanitized, make it acceptable for everybody type horror movies. Peter Jackson really fucking loved the movie because, just like audiences, it was the gore and the willing to fucking go there saying, holy shit, nobody's made a movie like this since the fucking 80s.
Yeah.
It had been 15 years since people were making movies like that. I mean, Hellraiser, what year was that? 87-ish? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, the last time they were really making gore movies in the late 80s. By the early 90s, they kind of moved away from them.
You know who introduced me to Hellraiser?
Who's that?
My grandmother.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
She seems like a nice lady.
She's a bitch. Total bitch.
Yeah, she's the one that's a sexual deviant, right?
Right.
Okay,
right,
okay, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
I mean, I love her, but...
Yeah, I mean, yeah. That's not a judgment.
No, she has some problems, though.
Deviate into whatever sex you want, as far as I'm concerned. Speaking of sexual deviance, James DeBello. One of the more entertaining characters in the fucking movie, as far as I'm concerned. A super fucking important staple in my coming of age when I'm 12 years old, he shows up in American Pie. Then he's in Detroit Rock City, Scary Movie 2, and then Cabin Fever. All that shit back to back. And then I was like, oh, this guy's great. He's gonna fucking go far.
And then he
doesn't even have a Wikipedia page.
You don't?
No.
We need to make one. This guy deserves some fucking credit.
And the last time I saw him in something, it was like 2006. And it was a movie called Dorm Days, and it was one of those fake National Lampoon movies, you know?
Right.
Once those people started using the title, but it wasn't really National Lampoon anymore. It was okay. I remember it being funny. Topanga was in it. So what's that say about James DeBello?
Boy Meets World fan.
Yeah, clearly.
I seen James DeBello in a movie. I don't remember when it was come out. I'm thinking 06-ish.
Yeah.
Transylvania.
Okay, yeah, that was one of those National Lampoon fake movies too.
I don't think so.
I'm not necessarily putting them down. I'm just saying they're using the title wrong.
Yeah, they're using it wrong.
I like a dumb, raunchy teen comedy like anybody, but
these are they're like went to Romania or something, stayed in a castle.
Sounds great.
You should watch it.
Check it out.
Yeah, I did enjoy it, but don't hold that against me.
It's, you know what? I might have fucking seen it at one point. It sounds vaguely familiar. Are you familiar with Joey Kern getting multiple eye injuries during the fucking movie?
No.
He got fucking glass shards in his eye, even. Do you remember the scene when he's looking out the cabin window and he's like facing directly out? He never turns and looks at the camera. He's ranting about what's going on outside. If you pay attention, he never turns to the camera. It's because his fucking eye's all red because he got a big fucking black eye and shit. It's fucking good stuff. Like so the several scenes in the movie, he sustained several eye injuries. He got a black eye, he got hit, got fucking glass in his eye. It happened multiple times.
It's ironic it would happen to him because he has like the least active scenes.
No shit. Because it seems like James DeBello should have easily been the guy who got all that shit.
Yeah, or even Ryder Strong because
he was smashing up that car and busting out the windows and shit. Yeah.
Had the fucking deer coming at him.
Oh, that's fuck! I love that scene, dude. That shit makes me think it's like Monty Python. It's like Freddy got fingered. That fucking it's that fucking those deer legs.
I love this movie.
Yeah,
all the gore was exactly right.
Yeah.
The story unfolded as it should with fucking craziness. And the guy that gets the harmonica shoved down his throat.
That's the shit, man.
And then he comes up spitting up blood. It's just fucking amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's got its moments of comedy. You could say there's a conflict in tone to a degree if you wanted to make that argument, but I think that it would work because the horror shit's perfectly horrifying. But then there's these fucking moments that are funny because they're horrifying. Do you know what I mean? It's not like some asshole cracking a joke or some bullshit switcheroo joke. It's like shit that's unsettling. Even the pancakes fucking scene. Once that kid starts jumping and kicking, you're like, oh fuck, what's gonna happen? You know what I mean? You're uncomfortable. It's not you're laughing, but you're uncomfortable. And then
even to this day, I'm not sure I've seen a horror movie that had a scene quite like that.
No shit.
Well, not of modern horror.
Right.
Even after Cabin Fever, it's like you don't see no karate kid yelling pancakes coming to bite your hand. It's like it's almost out of place, but it's not.
Yeah. Like when I was rewatching this movie, the first thing I started looking for, because horror movies have a bad habit of fucking themselves by being dated, and so the first thing I started doing is paying attention to the setting and the look and the feel and the aesthetic and even the tone. And I'm looking for things. I'm like, okay, what's gonna date this movie?
Why would you want to kill squirrels?
Because they're gay?
Don't be a fucking retard.
Kidding. I don't care if they're gay or straight. I'll kill them either way.
Everything looks good. I'm like, fuck, this movie could take place in the 60s or the 70s, or it could take place today, right? And then within like 5 minutes, James DeBello has got a fucking Nintendo, a portable Nintendo fucking device in his lap. I'm like, fuck, there it was.
Game Boy Advance.
I was trying to remember what it was called because I didn't fucking have one. So.
Yeah, because I noticed that as well.
It's not like a distracting plot point.
Yeah.
It's just he's got the thing in his lap, and you're like, fuck, there's the technology that just dated it, right?
Yep.
And it's James DeBello across the board. There's only two things that date the fucking movie. It's that and his fucking t-shirt. What's it say? It says ripe on 6/13/04. That's what his shirt says. It says ripe on, as in something is fresh and of age, like a wine.
Oh.
And it's the Olsen twins' birthday.
The man needs to know. That's something he would need to know.
Yeah, he's easily. I mean, if it was today, they'd only be like 4 years difference in age. So he'd be like 43, and they'd be, you know what I mean, like in their fucking late 30s. Not a big deal. But at the time, his character was supposed to be like 19. They were like 14. It's supposed to be when they filmed it, because they filmed the movie in 2001, like late 2001. Then it premiered at the fucking Toronto Film Festival a year later. Got bought by Lionsgate at that film festival, then released in theaters a year after that. So like it got really fucking spread out, its release time. So by the time we saw it in the theater, that movie was already 2 years old and finished 2 years earlier.
But Eli Roth had written this movie in 95.
Yeah, and he wrote it 10 years before we saw it.
What are we saying about Eli Roth?
Oh, fuck. Well, he is from Massachusetts.
Oh, okay. Oh, the age of consent in Massachusetts is 4.
How do you know that? Do you remember how sexy the shaving scene was?
Oof. I've churned many a butter to that scene.
I always knew your family was Amish.
Yeah.
The fucking shaving scene. Probably the most famous scene in the movie. I remember it being the scene, especially all the fucking girls when we were fucking kids talking about being horrifying, right?
Yeah.
Because every girl can relate to shaving her legs. I quit shaving my legs after that fucking scene.
Dude,
Never did it again.
No. Fuck that. I didn't shave nothing after that.
Are you aware that the shaving scene, though, was the inspiration for the whole movie?
Yes. That's horrifying.
Yes. It's fucking disgusting. Because Eli Roth goes to Iceland.
Yeah, and he was shaving his legs.
Was he shaving his legs?
He was
shaving his neck, yeah. I was like, what the fuck? He's like really thick black hair. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
oh, fuck.
You know how they are in Iceland.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, fucking Eli Roth contracts a fucking flesh-eating virus in Iceland in a fucking low temperature. I don't fucking understand that. But he was tending to cattle, so I feel like it's something related to the cattle, I'm gonna guess. And, yeah, gets fucking ravaged and shit, and then says, I'm gonna make a horror movie about this.
I'm gonna shave my face and scar myself.
Yeah, no shit. Oh, but one thing that fucking irritates me about that is that scene in particular. Why didn't she fucking stop? Because the first time she's like, ah.
Yeah.
Then the second time it's even more painful.
Yeah.
Then the third time she goes, ah. It's like, stop shaving. Why are you shaving at a time like this?
I mean, I don't want to pick the movie apart, but I was like, wasn't that like that before she put the shaving cream on?
Exactly.
I don't like to pick the movie apart because it's a great scene.
Right, it is a great scene.
Haunting, and you remember that scene when you watch Cabin Fever.
It's a brilliant visual, and you can pick it apart, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But the issue for me is, like, there is the logic. She knew her back was fucked up. She knew she was infected at this point. Why is she even sitting in the infected-ass water tub anyway? Because, I mean, I don't think they realize it's coming from the water yet, but it's like, why are you even dipped in the water if it burns your fucking skin? Why are you shaving your skin off of your body willingly? Do you know what I mean? Like, that was fucking bothering me, because I could see it the first stroke where she's like, ow! Then she tries it one more time, and it's like, it's even worse.
Yeah.
Then you stop.
Yeah.
But no, then she goes, like, really hardcore on the third one, and it was the worst one. It's like, why? Why are you shaving your legs when everyone's dying? Fucking priorities. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. Like, grooming at this point is irrelevant. If you want to get a shower, sure, but the whole idea of, like, I gotta take care of my legs so I can keep them covered up in some bitchin' flare pants. Anyway, what the fuck is that?
Well, she was shaving them for the dog. to eat.
Yeah, make sure his dinner is sufficient.
Well, this movie just went there.
Yeah.
Always.
Oh, and it went too far. In all the right ways.
Yeah.
I'm for it.
Ryder Strong was running. I forgot what he was even looking for at this point, but he found the fucking guy they burned floating in the reservoir.
Oh, fuck that scene, yeah.
And then he gets down there on the ladder to poke at him.
Why? I don't quite understand.
And then
he was clearly dead.
And then he falls right onto the body.
Fucking brilliant, though. I remember watching that the first time the other day, and it was just like gasp in horror. Like, fuck, that is the absolute worst case scenario.
It's like, if he wasn't, like, because he probably wasn't infected until that moment, because that water is in his fucking ears and his mouth and his eyes and his nose. And he fell directly on the body. It was wonderful.
Yeah. What's that gun for?
It's for who it's for.
Oh, fuck.
That's all we'll say about that.
Look, they want to they call cabin fever. You've heard the term? They've got cabin fever.